And I want to go remind my beloveds online, this is the final in my series on You Are a Whole Universe, and if you've missed those videos, I want you to go back and check them out. But as we wrap up this series, I want to talk about devotion. I want to talk about devotion because devotion is going to be what is required to stay in commitment with the practices and the way of being so that your whole true nature gets to come to life, right? But what you're devoted to matters. And I want to share with you devotion. We devote ourselves to our divine nature, the unavoidable truth that we are the outcome of an ever-evolving holiness that has been unfolding in this manifest universe since the beginning of time and space. And I don't know who the author is, but I'd had this in my personal notes for a really long time as a reminder that I am not devoted to a condition, or I'm not devoted to my practices. I'm not even devoted to you. I am devoted to the evolving holiness that I am an outcome of. I am devoted to my whole true nature as a divine manifestation of the Holy Blessed One. I devote myself to that. And when I know myself to be devoted to the truth, and when you know yourself to be devoted to the truth, the only truth that you have access to is your truth. The truth of who you are. Your experience of yourself as divinely made. Your experience of yourself as inherently good, worthy, unapologetic. That is what you devote yourself to. Because in order to stay committed to this practice, in order to stay committed to keeping the little self out of the driver's seat and putting your big self in charge, you will need to be devoted to it. Because it's so easy. It is so easy to be in that mirror and give your 10 minutes and be like, okay, spiritual work done for today. It is so easy to forget yourself. It is noisy out here. It is noisy in the world. It is noisy in these outer conditions that have a whole bunch of misunderstanding unfolding. All the things that cause separation and divide are misunderstandings, are less than whole. And in order for you to stay in that place of truth, in order for you to stay in the commitment to bringing your whole self to life, you've got to be devoted to it. It can take one silly meme, it can take one news report to just push all of that aside, and I'm coming out fighting, right? It's so easy, somebody to say a thing or to look at you in a way, and you forget the truth of who you are. So the devotion is to that. And yes, it will require good habits. And yes, it will require a good use of your time. And yes, it will require multiple practices and choices around who you surround yourself with and what you read and what you watch. All of that, yes. You commit to those practices. You commit to doing the things that it takes for you to stay in alignment, but you devote yourself. You sit at the feet of your own very true nature. And you do that because, as Richard Rohr, the founder of the Center for Action and Contemplation, a Christian mystical contemplative organization, he says, as devotional practices turned into repetitive obligations in institutionalized religions, they denigrated. Most people came to understand them magically as divinely required transactions. Instead of inviting people into new consciousness, they often froze people in their first infantile understanding of those rituals and transactions. And they ended up substituting transaction for transformation. Richard said a word, right? Richard said a word. And I want to kind of pull that apart a little bit. Because in the devotion to your whole true nature, there is a commitment then to transformation. Because your whole true nature, like the infinite, holy, blessed one's nature, is ever evolving and expanding. I hate to burst any bubbles here, but there is no end of the rainbow. You will continue to discover your awesomeness. You will continue to have greater and greater experiences of yourself, of love, of life. This isn't like, I'm going to hurry up over here and get to the whole me. Done. That's actually not how it works. The universe is an infinite, and expanding, never-ending mystery. And devoting yourself to that ever-expanding mystery that is you. I can't think of anything more worthy of your time. Like we were singing earlier, so sacred, so secret, so precious, I am. When I first heard that, I thought, what's the secret about? The secret is that part of you, the mystery of the universe, of the great cosmos that you and I cannot wrap our brains around, that is in you as well. The mystery that is unfolding, that is you to yourself, that is so sacred and so precious that it's for you. Right? It's for you to devote yourself to the getting up next to and becoming more intimate with more of who I am. And it's for me. It's mine to experience. And I don't have to share it with nary one of you. I don't want to. That mystery that is unfolding in me that I may never even be able to find words for, that is deep in my own experience. It is precious, this thing that you are, this thing called you, and absolutely worthy of your devotion. I can't think of anything that should come ahead of that devotion, and I'm a mother, and I'm telling you that. My great becoming, my knowing myself as divine, is my number one commitment in my life. And I love my kiddo to the moon and back, but he's number two. Howard Thurman, beloved mystic and teacher and mentor to Martin Luther King Jr., said, "A strange necessity has been laid upon me to devote my life to the central concern that transcends the walls that divide, and would achieve in literal fact what is experienced as literal truth. Human life is one, and all people are members of one another. And this insight is spiritual, and it is the hard core of true religious experience. Devote my life to the central concern that transcends the walls that divide." I love Howard Thurman so much. That transcends the walls that divide. In the song that Zenobia sang, there is no wall in between you and me and the Holy Word. and whatever experience of separation you are having in your own being. That is the thing that must be transcended if you and I want to live in a world where separation is not a thing. The separation you have between yourself and your own divinity in your own mind must be transcended in order for that belonging to one another that we long for on this planet to come into form. The truth that you and I belong to one another and there is no other possibility because it is all one and there are no walls has to be experienced. It cannot just be words on a page. Perennial wisdom, truth in all the sacred texts. You and I are the way this comes into form. You and I are responsible for birthing that experience on this planet in the material realm. But if you are walking around with misunderstanding and misbelief about the truth of your own nature, how can you birth the falling of the walls of divide on this planet? If you are walking around believing that you are the great exception to the divine oneness, that somehow everybody else is divinely made, but you're not, or you will be able to have an enlightened experience of the divine after you lose the weight, earn the money, get the job, gain somebody's favor. Those walls of separation in your own being must come down, which is why you must devote yourself first and foremost to your own wholeness. And the more that you devote yourself to understanding and knowing and feeling and embodying the truth of who you are, what is going to happen in these external circumstances? Good stuff! And not just because metaphysics and resonant frequencies and you will attract to you what you are vibrating at. All of that is so. But more importantly, it's because you will show up more of who you are. You will show up in your relationships. You will show up in your work. You will show up in your communities. You will show up at your neighborhood events. You will show up with all the juicy goodness that is you, making all the difference in the world, making all the difference in your relationships, making all the difference in your experience of abundant life and freedom, right? Because when we talked about earlier, your masterful use of your own energy lets you bring your own power back from the places you've given it away. But when you do that, and you devote yourself wholeheartedly to that, you have no choice but to be a beacon of good and light and love and all the wondrous things on this planet. There is no other possibility because that is your true nature. And anything not that goes away. Anything not that becomes intolerable. And I said earlier in the first part of the series that I was going to talk a little bit about a holy no. When you are devoted to the truth of who you are, no gets really easy. I think some of us, especially those of us in feminine personalities, think that we have to give ourselves away because that's being a good, nurturing human mother person. It's BS. It's BS. Showing up in our fullness, yes, all day long. But giving until we deplete is crap. That's one of those misunderstandings, misbeliefs, BS things that we have inherited and a lot of us have internalized. Thinking our value lies in what we give. Thinking our worthiness lies in how we help. It's crap. Your value and your worthiness is inherent. It is not earned. And you devote yourself to your wholeness, to all that you are, because you are good. Because you are worthy of devotion. I tell any of my students when they're studying with me, in one of the classes I teach, we talk about creating altars in our homes. And there's altars in all kinds of traditions. But I always say, I want you to put a picture of yourself on your altar. And some of my people who practice other faith traditions are like, ooh, I can't do that. Put my own picture on the altar? That's like for ancestors and saints. You deserve to be worshiped by you. You deserve to be honored as holy because that is the truth of who you are. And when you do that, when you devote yourself to your own holy, divinely appointed nature, guess what? Anything that is out of alignment with that nature, bye-bye. And it's not even a thing. You don't even have to give energy to it. It's just a no. That's the holy no. Right? When we are actively in a fight and actively in resistance and needing to say no, and sometimes that's our pathway to the holy no, right? Have you met people who are new to setting boundaries? And they're like, I have a boundary about that. Boundary. That is a step towards a holy no. Sometimes that's how we got to get there. Me having a boundary. We've got to be careful with our boundaries because sometimes boundaries become walls. But when you are letting your whole, holy, true nature be the driver, it's simply a no. Right? You don't have to restrict or constrict or get small in order to say your no. It's just like, oh, yeah, that's not for me. It's just out of, I don't like it. Right? It's like hearing a song on the radio that is like, ooh, and you just turn the channel. Right? You don't have to shout at the radio. You don't need to flex muscles to turn the channel. It's just like, that's not, That's the holy no. Costs you nothing. It's just simply not for you. There will also be in this process, because we are human beings having fleshy, messy experiences with all the feelings that are sacred. We got to work really hard to stay out of that binary, right? But all of those things along the way, you may find suddenly that there are things, as you become more intimate and true to your own whole nature, you may find things like that might even make you nauseous, that once upon a time would have been fine. Right? And so it might be weird and awkward along the way. There may be some adjustments, there was a time that someone speaking to me that way wouldn't have been a thing. I might not have even noticed that they were being a jerk-faced. But now, I can have whole moments where suddenly it's like they're speaking another language, like I cannot hear it. Like I cannot actually hear the shiznit coming out of mouth sometimes. It's like watching somebody, are my ears not working? Why did they just go quiet? It's like I can't hear it. I can't take it in at all. That's a holy no. You may find as you devote yourself to your whole true nature that there are people that you can no longer stomach. Doesn't make them bad and you good. It just means you're no longer resonant. It's just a simple math thing. And so no. And there may be some hard habits to break. But it's that devotion that will help you break them. It's that devotion to your whole true nature that will help you trust and deepen in your faith, that those impulses that are rising in you and moving you in a new direction, that those words that are coming that you're going to say to somebody that you are like, I have never said a thing like that, and you're going to say it. You're going to say it. All of those things are going to come into being from that place of devotion. And here's what I want you to know. Because you've devoted yourself to your whole true nature, you will have the power and the capacity to meet whatever those things are. To say the thing, to leave the relationship, to leave the job. That masterful use of your energy that you are getting better and better and better at using and honing and being in relationship with is going to be how you have what you need to meet what is yours to meet. But if you are devoted to other people's behavior, if you are devoted to other people's well-being ahead of your own, you have given your power away. You've given your energy away. So that you have less to put towards the manifest reality of your wholeness in this life. I just heard Maxwell. Gonna get by and try to work it all out this lifetime. I really did think as a young person that I could save it for another lifetime. I was like, I'm just going to be a screw up this time around. I'll work it out next lifetime. But I'm offering that you can get it right now. I'm offering that you can devote yourself to the truth of who you are and have the experience of freedom and liberation now in this lifetime. I love me some MLK Jr., but this whole idea that justice is a slow arc, F that. Justice is what love looks like in public, and you and I get to have that experience in this lifetime. You and I get to be a stand for that now. You and I get to know and honor and hold ourselves accountable to the truth of who we are and what we will tolerate and what we will not. What we are a holy yes to and what we are a holy no. What I call the We actually get to hold one another accountable because we know we belong to the infinite. You and I get to hold one another accountable to our highest and best selves because you know that you are made of divine stuff. So that bad behavior that just keeps being tolerated, that habit that you keep not breaking, that less than who you are that keeps showing up in certain circumstances, it's a no. It's a holy no. And everything you need within you to meet the moment and to say the yes and to hold yourself accountable and to do the hard thing and say the hard thing and make new choices, it's in you. And then you'll begin to recognize the people who have made the same commitment. And you can shore one another up along the way. You can recognize that light in somebody's eyes that is now matching your light and its reflection. It's like, I see you, homie. I see you. I see you doing the thing. And cheerlead each other along the way. As we understand our own divine nature, we understand that we inherently belong to one another as a part of the one divine nature. And then we realize that my liberation and my freedom is absolutely tied up with every little life and piece of life on this planet, including yours. And as I get free, I am able to be a representation of freedom for more folks. As you get free, that resonant vibration of freedom that you are rolling in just simply invites others along, and we are uplifting one another in this planet, and this is how it works. But it starts with devotion to self. And through that devotion, you begin to understand your belonging to the whole as wholeness. So in this devotional practice, I want you to consider again the words of Howard Thurman, that it was laid upon me to devote my life entirely to this truth that there is no separation between me and the Holy One and between you and I. There is only one, and we all belong to the one. So one of the ways that you can superpower your devotion to this self, to this whole universe that you are, and the practices and habit changes and time spent that you will need in order to be in that devotion, is to know your why. Know why. You want to know yourself as a whole universe. Because sometimes it's going to be like, you know what? I don't need to be spiritual today. I'm tired. I'm sick of the humans. I'm not getting on my meditation cushion. I see you, yoga mat, but not today. Right? It's easy to lose the commitment. It's easy to fall away from the practices that support my wholeness. But if I remember why, my big why, it gets me on the mat. It gets me into my meditation time. So I want you to spend some time finding your why. What is going to be what motivates you to stay engaged with the practices that bring you more and more intimately connected to the truth of who you are? What's your why? Your why might be, I want to actively participate in creating a world that works for everyone, and so I got to do this work. That might be your why. Your why might be, I want to know love more fully and more deeply. So I'm going to get on the mat until I can feel my way there, right? But find your why. And then write it down, hang it up somewhere, make it a screensaver, something that helps you stay connected. Yes? All right, I am going to anchor this final series that you are a whole universe in prayer, and I invite you to join me in prayer. Holy Blessed One. The one that has always been and will ever be and is never missing in any moment, at any time, in any universe, that is seen and unseen and is beyond understanding and is right here, right now, is my very experience. This holy, blessed, infinite life, this holy, blessed one that has said yes to my being, has very much given itself as you, through you, as the very breath that is in your body right now, and as everything that you experience and breathe and out into the world. That holy blessed one is infinitely moving, infinitely expanding, and giving itself again and again and again through you as the good that wants to reveal itself more fully on this planet, more and more and more and more and more. And I know that the very call of this time has appointed you and I as beings on purpose to bring that good more and more fully to this planet. There is no other possibility, because what is unfolding in life is either a call for love or love itself. And there's a whole bunch of calls for love on this planet right now. And so what I know as the good, and what I know as this infinite one that is life itself that you and I belong to, is that call for love is answered by you, by me. And I know that that call for love is answered as you and I devote ourselves into our whole, authentic, true self, and then we say yes to bringing it to the table. And you and I say no to anything in the way of that, out of alignment with that. Giving our whole self, all of our energy, to being the way of more and more good on this planet right here and right now. Because you and I are here by divine appointment, and I am so grateful for that. I am so grateful to be appointed and anointed to be on this planet at this time, to be a way of love. And I know that every single animated piece of life on the planet is here to do the same. And thank you, God. Thank you, life. Thank you, Holy Blessed One, for this very opportunity to experience greater and greater good, greater and greater love. How good it is to be a part of that one infinite whole. Join me by saying amen, ashe, aho, and so it is.